Last but certainly not least, our co-hosts from MaibornWolff, Dr. Martina Beck and Volker Maiborn.
I think I take this mic. Is it okay? Yeah. First of all, coming from Munich and having someone from Leverkusen here, I just want to congratulate for the championship in football. Yeah, it's the first time. So, well, we are here with the last session of the day to tell you a little bit about the Big Five. And you see at the picture that we have a certain passion for Africa. You will learn during the talk why that is. Da ist der Clicker. Sehr gut. So what we're going to tell you is a little bit from our real life experience, from real projects with our clients like BMW, Volkswagen, Miele, and so on. So it's not only vision, but it's trends that we really observe already. And of course, we start with Gen AI. We have to today. But then we go beyond it and have 4 more trends, which is Cloud Next, Green IT, the talents, and the digital design. And Martina will talk about digital design because, well, she's one of the most renowned German experts on that topic. Well, we heard that today several times. Application development will never be the same again through Gen AI. Well, for some of you, for Bayer, that is a challenge because, well, you have to deal with it. But for us, as a software company, as an IT service provider, this is one of the major risks to our business model, and that could really endanger the whole company. The company is 35 years old in 8 weeks, and we never faced a risk like that because it will change our whole business. It will change the whole way we do how we work. It will change every role in our company. It will change the way we do software for our clients. So this is the most the largest risk, I think, for us and other IT service providers. But it also is, at the same time, the largest opportunity. Well, this is just a very simplified graph from our CTO, Alex. We said, well, we had that productivity boosts in the last years. But Gen AI certainly is one more. And that affects, well, as I said, all the roles in our company. So from consulting, design, requirements, engineering, the coding, the testing. So every role has to change. And this is why we established an initiative called AI for You. That gives everyone in the company has 1,000 employees roughly, the chance, well, and the obligation to check how will AI, Gen AI especially, change my personal job, my role. So we have to do a real change management program. And that is really big thing. But it also changes the type of our projects. So because some applications, as we did them in the last 35 years, won't be there anymore. So our projects will be less, they will be faster, they will be smaller, there will be different types. And so for us, Gen AI is more than just a hype. It is at the same time a big opportunity and a big risk. To start with the applications we do for our clients. So the use case that we really implement, and which is the most frequent one, is what we call chat with your data, which other people call retrieval augmented generation. And that is really a powerful architecture because it now gives people the users the opportunity to talk with their data, with their own data. So they have a natural language interface, and then we just take this input, yeah, and process it not only with OpenAI ChatGPT, but we use own data sources, index them, vectorize them, use search engines on it, so that and orchestrate the workflow through tools or frameworks like LangChain. And so what you get as a result is not just a plain ChatGPT result, but you get it with your own data, you get it more accurate, you get it context-driven, and this is what people really need. And we implemented this architecture for tour operator, for example, where you can just, as a client, chat with the data of this tour operator and kind of create your family vacation, ending up with precise bookings. We implemented it on the shop floor for machine data, sensor data, where you have thousands of or millions of data that you can just ask for irregularities, that you can ask for how did the engine speed change in the last hours, whatever. You can use that for, let's say, product catalogs. Yeah, you say, well, I want to build a tree house for my children, and you get from the product catalog, you get a shopping list referring to that specific vendor. So this is real life applications that we already built. So that is not just the future; it's already there. In our own work, we use, so in our software engineering, we use AI, of course, in the requirements engineering. We use a tool from a company called Zen AI. So you can just, in natural language, talk about your requirements, and you will end up in a backlog. We use it, of course, in coding. We use it to create test concepts. We used it for documentation of a legacy Delphi code. So that is already implemented. And this is the example from a large BMW application, which is success critical because it's in production. And the way it works is that we had to migrate Payara 5 services to Quarkus, which is a Kubernetes framework, which is more recent. And so the way it works is that you give the migration container the basic instructions, you define a migration cookbook, take the Java file, give it to OpenAI, and what you get in the end is not only the migrated Java file, but you get also a migration report, which you then look at, do a review, and then you don't change individually the result of the migration, but you change the cookbook, and by doing so, you can fully automate the migration. The result of that was that in this particular case, the project was 5 times faster, and the cost reduction was 70%, and we had, of course, 100% consistency, and it is reusable. So this is a real-life example with real-life data. There is one low light, which is it was really hard to get it approved by the Workers' Council. It is now today it is approved, but it was really hard to get it approved, despite that huge productivity boosts. The second trend I want to mention, and I think now we leave for today the area of AI, that was the last words on it, is we experience with our clients that cloud is now the standard. I think you mentioned that, yeah. You said, well, now we have everything in the cloud. We made our experience, yeah. But now we face with our. You're not there, yes, but well, from our point of view, 95% of the applications we build are cloud-based applications. So for us, cloud is the standard. But now we see clients that face, well, new challenges. The first is the hyperscalers offer, well, more professional services than they did. So they have managed services. You can be quicker. You can implement cloud applications with less internal capacity, with less internal competence. You have landing zones. You are very quick. But on the other hand, that leads to a vendor lock-in. So this is what our clients now experience. And the first step is to say, okay, we do at least in several domains, sales and production, we use several cloud providers. But more and more people build applications, cloud applications that are really multi-cloud. But that, on the other hand, brings some engineering overhead, which is target conflict with the cost engineering. So a lot of our work is now to optimize the cost our clients spend for the hyperscalers. Unfortunately, Karin from Microsoft already left. So we can tell that one of our clients, Miele, really did had a great saving by just kind of refactoring the own IoT cloud with 1 million of the household appliances in that Miele cloud. By just, spending a little bit on own engineering, by replacing managed services by own services. There is one more aspect, which is information protection or data sovereignty. This is, from our observation, a topic that is discussed, but none of our, I think, 122 clients ever decided for one of the German cloud providers. Is someone of you using a German cloud provider? No one? Okay. There are some, yeah, but I don't know who really puts their application on a German cloud. So what it means is that our clients now are defining explicit multi-cloud strategies on an application or on a domain level, and that they build platform teams that try to kind of find the synergies between applications that have functional commonalities. So platform teams is, kind of step back from DevOps, because, then you have a kind of new operations team. But that is, in terms of cost effectiveness, is that really a good strategy. The third of our big five is green IT. And to be honest, I think in English you say, the wind is gone out of the sails a little bit due to the economic weakness in Germany. Some years ago, that was really a trend, and we found some companies like Airbus that have dedicated sustainability officers for green IT. So within the IT department, they have people that do nothing else than just care about sustainability. So that means for us as a service provider, we have to be prepared. We have to change the mindset of our people. We have to have the possibility to measure, evaluate, and optimize the energy consumption of our applications. And I think the same would be true for also companies like Bayer. I would be interested how you do it, because, if we are now talking about AI, that is a kind of backlash, because, the AI systems use a lot of energy, and, that would not be in the would not be the idea of green IT. So what makes sense is to in order not to get lost in that green IT area, to implement something like a maturity model. And I copied the one from MetaFinance, and luckily we have Rainer here from MetaFinance. I didn't know that you were attending, so that is just a present for you. This is a very comprehensive framework just to define a green IT strategy, because it covers 4 solution areas: technical solutions, social, environmental, and paradigm shift, and 23 disciplines, and it has several maturity levels. So you can really step by step go through it and say, okay, what is it we are doing in that field? What is our aim, and so on. So that gives you really good orientation, even if perhaps it's not the most important topic at the time. But as I said, you should be prepared for well, the questions that your sustainability officer will ask you. The 4th trend is talents. Well, we heard several times today that perhaps you might not need developers any longer due to Gen AI. I believe in the potential of Gen AI, definitely. But on the other hand, if I look back and observe how long it took until companies really applied agile methodologies. They were invented in 2001. Now we have you said, well, you applied it for DevOps now in 2022. So it took 20 years to really apply agile processes. Some of our clients are, well, from our point of view, not really digitalized. So there is a huge potential. And we were talking about digitalization for 20 years. So I think it will take a long time until all the code generation and maintenance is covered by Gen AI. So you will definitely need some talents. And some of you mentioned I think you did it, or I don't know, in the panel discussion, it was that the Bitkom says, well, there are 600,000 people missing in 2030. Today, they say it's 140,000. So I think the fact that we have a talent scarcity in Europe is indisputable. So what you have to find is, well, where do I find the talents? How do I get them for a low cost without making compromise in the quality? And perhaps there might be, and this is our answer to that, there might be also some sustainability aspects. So nearshoring, of course, is not new, but as long as you stay in Europe, the prices well, are not that low any longer. I think we have a kind of price level of 80% of Germany, in Romania, in Bulgaria, and so on. So our answer, and one of our clients' answer, is to build own hubs. So BMW, for example, does not only have hubs in Portugal and in China and in India, but now also in South Africa. So they go south. The BMW hub in South Africa has already 3,000 people. So that is not only a small development team, but it's really relevant. And together with Seerene, we are going to measure the efficiency of that hub and the processes. So using your tool and then optimizing and helping them to set it up in a very efficient way. Our own strategy is to build up own development teams in Africa, on the African continent. So we started in Tunisia, and we have some people there and made very good experience. And now we are going to Sub-Sahara Africa. Those are 2 of our developers in Rwanda. So we put up a small team in Kigali. And the advantage is that you really get the brightest, most clever, the most motivated people there, because for them, it's a real opportunity. So for us, it's a kind of, well, price strategy. We get a good talent pool, but for them, it is the opportunity for their lives. So we really can have a win-win situation and help them to, well, apply their knowledge and to well, to leave their to Subsistenzwirtschaft. What does it mean? Yeah, so so they sometimes come from very well, not poor, but simple families, simple backgrounds, and we train them for 6 months, and then they work together with our team in mixed teams for German clients, having a good income. And are really proud to have international clients. So that is a really impact-driven enterprise, helping at the same time our clients to get the best talents. If you want to know more about that, there will be an event in the first week of June from the German London or German London Tech Summit, which takes place at the 5th of June here in Berlin. So if you want to know more about it, just you can register for free at that URL. So, and then we are done with the first 4 trends, and now we come to the one that we think is the most important one, which is digital design, and I hand over to Martina. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So, for me, it's the most important thing. So, thank you that you are still here and that I can talk about my passion. You heard the big 5 were chosen also because the passion of Volker is Rwanda and Africa and going there. And my passion is something that is called digital design. And to be honest, to tell it to you at the beginning, this is nothing new, but this is a new term. And we will come into it now in these next minutes. So the question behind is, where should CIOs invest their money when it comes to digital transformation? Because the whole day we talked about Gen AI and becoming more quickly, doing things quicker, and it's always how can we do it right, and will developers be there in future? And we never put the question on the table. You did it a little bit. Do we build the right things? So the question is, do we build the right things, or how can we create inspiring digital products, or how can we do the digital transformation right? So I'll stop now about talking about digital design, and I want to talk about, let's approach it from a very unusual perspective. Could you imagine if 22% of our cars immediately start stopping in the street, or that 22% of our buildings break down immediately? What if 22% of our mobile phones explode in our hand, or 22% of our medicines did not work? What do you think? What will happen? Crisis. It will be in the newspaper. It will be in the news. Everybody. You know this Stadtbibliothek in Cologne? It dropped down suddenly because of the U-Bahn. It was in the newspaper. So we talked all day now about software. And can you answer me the question, maybe there's someone, why do we accept such error rates in software engineering? Why do we accept it? Why is it not the first topic here when we are discussing? Is it because we have not, if there is software wasty, that we do not have to bury it somewhere, like we should do when we have a lot of cars that we crash to these cubes and then have a hole in the earth and we have to bury it there because we don't do it? Or you cannot see physical debris or waste that you do when buildings crashing down. You see it everywhere. You see it if a building is broken down. Or if you have medicine that do not work, that is some time of rubbish that you have to get rid of, and that is really a topic. So, what about software? What's the problem? Digital waste is invisible. And what you do not see and do not smell is not there. So you will not be remembered that there is a lot of digital waste. So what do I call digital waste? Digital waste is software that is built but never used. maybe it is not gone live. You have it somewhere, you put a lot of pressure, a lot of energy in it, but it was never live. Or on the other hand, that is even worse. You have a lot of software that is live. It's even clean code. It's great. It's maybe produced with Gen AI, but there are lots of functionality that is never used. And I asked Seerene if your software is measuring if the dialogues and the functionality is used, but so far it is not, I heard. It's not partially, a little bit. But that is something that I really ask you. So where does this 22% come from? This 22% comes from the standard chaos report, and that is the figures, how is the success rate of enterprise software. Just 29% are successful, 22% are failed if you have big projects, and 49% are challenging, meaning there's more effort needed than planned and there is more things coming out. That is the challenging part. Why is it like this? Even that, there is an answer from the standard chaos report that says, mostly the user is not integrated, there's a lack of user input. The other thing is the requirements are unclear, or the requirements are changing all the way when we are doing the software project. So, why is it like this? If I ask today somebody, why is it like this? And it was also today here like this. You mentioned requirements, that was a great thing. I was happy. Lars, you mentioned also that the user is the most important thing. And then you said something, we had to do the shift left. So it means that the developer has to do something to do with the user and has to work with the user. But what we have always in mind is when it comes to developing, it has to do something with coding in the first thought. It has to do with coding, it has to do with technology, and we have not in mind so often that there should maybe a concept behind that. And what we see when it comes to Agile is that this kind of things, if they are there, this is no concept. This is a collection of sticky notes where there are no relations, no contradictions, and stuff like this detected if you do it like this. That's a great problem. This is no conception, this is no design. So, and now look to another technology disciplines. If you compare software technology with all other technical disciplines, an amazing thing comes to light. Look at this. Civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electronics, all of that have a standardized process for a concept, and all of them have a standardized visual blueprint. So you have molecules. I think at Bayer you have a concept for things that you are building. In architecture, you have plans. You discuss with the user, with the one who will live in the house. Do you want maybe a house where you live in, or do you want a fabric, or do you want something, and you do not want to change the bathroom and the rooms immediately when you are moved in? So in every other technology discipline, we have processes. Have you ever noticed that? Honestly, have you ever remember that this is a topic that we have, and we do not talk about that? We only talk about developers. And I noticed and I appreciate that you said developing also can mean requirements engineering. You said this a little bit, but you don't put it on the table as a profession. So and our answer to all of that is the digital design profession. I think we have to start to talk about designing software, constructing software as a profession. And the Bitkom identified this vacuum in 2017, I think, and they had something coming up with the Digital Design Manifest and the Role Idle Digital Design, 2017. And maybe it's the same, I'm a linguist. If you have no term for something, then you do not talk about that. That's maybe the problem. So Together with the Bitkom, since 2019, we are on this topic and we are digital design pioneers. And maybe you now think, what does she have? What is she talking about? We have all these user researcher, this business analyst, this requirements engineer, this graphical user interface designer. We have all these people. Yes, you're right. But if I look at our projects, and we're doing this work, this job since 35 years, with, as you mentioned, 100,000 current customers. We have done thousands of projects, or thousands, I don't know, but a lot of projects with different customers, with big corporations, with German Mittelstand. We have done it, and if we look at our projects, I can tell you what I found is, yes, there are requirements engineers, business analysts, but often they come in very late in the projects, in really small homeopathic doses, I would say, here a little bit, there a little bit, and sometimes without any technical expertise. So they're just doing requirements, but not looking at the digital material behind. And I think this is something where we should make a change. So, and we came up with this digital design professions. And what is digital design about? Digital design means that we design software, and now be careful, we have in Germany a problem with the term design. Design do not mean clicky-bunty or luxury. It means really constructing. It does not stop at the touch point. It's also going more deeply in the backbone of a software. So what we need is a holistic perspective to build a software, starting from the cloudy idea in the beginning, that is on the business side, making the software ready to code, to put it in 0 and 1s. And this is a handcraft. This is not someone of the business side who doing it as a product owner with the left hand, or that someone who is originally ordered for coding and have really coding skills should do a workshop somehow in between his coding stuff that he's doing. So this is a handcraft. So designing means doing it in a holistic view. And digital design means a little bit more. I think you notice it often. There is the business side, and there is the IT, and sometimes they stand against each other and they have no speech. They have no language to talk to each other. And also this thing is something where a digital designer is the bridge builder between IT and the ideas in the IT and the thing that the IT side can really build. Because these cloudy things have to come into these 0 and 1s. That's the second thing. And now, if you have digital design as a profession, you need 4 really good things as skills. The first thing is you have to know to design. User experience knowledge, requirements engineering knowledge, interaction design knowledge, graphical user interface knowledge, all these things, it's really necessary. Design knowledge. You have to know what is software about. You have to know software processes, releasing, estimation of the effort, quality assurance, all these things that is going around software engineering. That's the second. The third, it is a good thing if you know and like to speak and work with people. So empathy and soft skills is really a really important thing if you're doing this job. And I do not know if everybody who is developing really quite good software is the one who has this skill. And it's not bad, but if you do this job, you need it. You have a lot of people around you, a lot of conflicts. And the fourth thing, this is a new term coming up with the Bitkom, is you need the knowledge of digital material. Digital material means you have to know the possibilities and the limitations of the software that is coming up. Is it metaverse? What can you do with it? Is it Gen AI? What can you do with it? If it is voice, if it's graphical user interface, you have to know a little bit behind the algorithms and the limitations and the possibilities. That is really important. So these 4 things makes a digital designer, and the digital material really makes the difference of all of this. Whew, that means a digital designer must be a superwoman, right? Or a superman. No. No, this does not mean it all. We understand digital design as an umbrella profession. So see, if you have someone who has studied software engineering or computer science, then she is not working as a data scientist, front-end developer, back-end developer, mobile developer. You have different parts there you specialize in future. You have a certain passion. And what I need, or what I claim, is digital design is something like an umbrella profession. So there is the basis that everybody is knowing, but during your daily work, operations in future, there's a passion that you generate. So there's something that you think, I'm dying for this. And you have an own expertise as a digital designer in the daily life, but you have to know where you are limited. Which people do you have to take onto the table, to get this holistic view? You need not to be the superhero, but you should see designing as a really handcraft where you put people together and see it as an holistic umbrella profession. So far, that's about digital design. And now you can say, does it help or not? We live digital design in our projects, and I also bring an example from Miele. I brought 2 success stories for digital design, and this is one where it is 2 or 3 years ago, where we had to do with Miele, and they wanted to do something with voice. 3 or 4 years ago, it was very hip to do something with voice technology. And the customer said to us, we want to create added value in a modern household with voice technology. What do we do? Our idea is, let's do the whole washing machine control by speech. So you talk to your washing machine, go off 60 degrees, turn like this, so on and so on. That was the first idea. In this project, we had 2 digital designers, one from the client side and one from us, and these both had really knowledge about the possibilities and the limitations of voice. So the first thing that you have to know about voice is it works completely different than graphical user interfaces. So graphical user interface, have you ever noticed that it speaks to you, that it leads? You know there is a question mark, there's a drop-down menu. You know what you can do because it leads you a little bit. You see something visual. When you have an Alexa box in front, you don't know what to do. You even do not know how to interact because there is no guidance. There is nothing that leads you. So these dialogues, you have really to know how to model them and how to use them because this is a complicated thing. The other thing is, if a voice dialogue answers you 50 pizza toppings, how many can you remember? If you ask, what kind of pizza do I like? What have you in your menu? And it gives you 2 or 3 or 4, then you are ready. You are already done. That's the same if you want to do a dialogue with your washing machine. There are a lot of options. If it's given to you, you're not able to remember this. So the question is this a good idea to spend a lot of money to do this dialogue? No, it wasn't. But the really striking criteria is the time to task. What sense does it make to speak with your washing machine when you have to go to the washing machine and put your clothing in anyway? So you have to go to the washing machine and you need to drop the button, just drop the button. It makes no sense to talk to the washing machine in this case. What makes sense is maybe you are somewhere else in the household now and the washing machine is done. That Alexa informs you, now you're ready, you can go down and do something else with the clothing. That makes sense. And these kinds of simple questions save a lot of money. To be honest, it saved a lot of money. It was a great success in contrast to the pure voice thing. After a while, we started to model it multimodal with different interfaces, and it becomes a success story. But you have to start in the beginning. Second thing was with the VW Corporation. It was about analog error lists that were displayed in the production. There were a lot of error lists in the production, printed out everywhere, and they wanted to digitize it. And the first idea often happened like this from the customer: let's just map the Excel error list one-to-one on a tablet. That was the first idea, that the smartest thing, just map it like this. Also here, digital designers were in the project, and they ask, can we see who is using these Excel lists and how they use it? Are these different groups of users? Which kind of users are then? And then they detected suddenly that there were users, workers at the band in the production, and they were thick gloves, really thick gloves, working gloves, and they could not touch with the gloves an Excel on a tablet. So after a while, we modeled the data from the business perspective for the workers, hide some information behind a tile. You could an error detection do with one tap on this tile, and this result was really something that was really digitization, process digitization, instead of simple data electrification that you would have done taking the Excel and putting it one-to-one on the tablet. This result was nominated twice for the Industry 4.0 award. They did not win, but it was something where you can see the effort was really worth it. So, to sum it up, what would I claim? For digital waste prevention, we say at least 31% of the project capacity should spend for digital design. And digital design may be UX, requirements engineering, visual design, whatever. And be aware, digitization will happen anyway, anywhere. And you will see digital products. They will get a shape. And I really recommend that we influence it and that we let people do it who know their handcraft and who have learned it to give digital transformation a shape that we want to get it, and not let it go like this, because a shape it will get anyway. You cannot not design, as you cannot not communicate. Do it in the right manner and honor digital design. Thank you very much.